Welcome to the Fantasy Hockey Hacks podcast. We are on episode 176 this evening, NHL Fantasy Preview for week 24. There is half the hacks here tonight. The other half is either on the road or missing in action. I'm not sure. Well, we know one's on the road. John's on the road. Tyler, we don't know where Tyler is. So
if I had to venture a guess, I'd say he's probably playing hockey or just getting back from hockey, but
that could very well be right. They were in their playoffs. So,
as is usually the case, Bruce, we may see him make an appearance in about 15 or 20 minutes from now.
Sure.
And we'll go from
just
there.
As we close the podcast, hey, there's Tyler.
Yeah, or not at all. But anyway, that's okay. He's a busy guy. It's all good. Actually, and as I recall, I think he's moving too.
Right. I forgot he's moving. That's
right. So that might have been last weekend. Maybe he's still dealing with moving. I'm not really sure. But anyway.
Probably.
So our listeners get you and I tonight.
Just us. Just you and me. We are talking.
Go ahead. Sorry. Finish up.
We're talking about week 24, which at least for, I think, most of Yahoo and ESPN leagues, this is going to be the first week of fantasy playoffs. So congratulations to everybody that made the playoffs. And I guess we'll go from there. If you didn't make the playoffs, then oops.
Our condolences.
Hopefully
we didn't steer you in the wrong direction this season.
Hopefully you weren't picking Oilers the last two games to save your ass.
Yeah, well, hey, before we get to that, Bruce, I just want to give a shout out to a couple guys. I ran into Kyle Hefner today, who I've known for about 20 years. We're both kind of from around Lloydminster, and I was good friends with his cousin, Amanda Hefner. And anyway, so I ran into him today, and we just had a good chat. And it's oddly enough, he is a listener of the podcast, and he actually had no idea that I was doing this podcast. He found us on Twitter, and he decided to give it a listen. And she was like, "Oh my God, Devon's on this podcast. This is incredible!" And he had no idea. And he actually said to me today, "I probably owe you credit for at least 2 fantasy championships. I probably owe you like $800." He said, "Thanks so much. I really enjoyed the show." So yeah, shout out to Kyle. It was good to see you again, buddy. And
tell him we take cash.
No, we're probably gonna grab a beer. He might buy me a beer.
Works.
Yeah. So we'll go from there. And then Ryan Swanson on Twitter. I apologies. He had texted us, Bruce, I think yesterday, and as you know, I was traveling to Lloyd to see my grandpa. He's in the hospital, and so it's been a busy weekend. I just didn't have a chance to review social media. But he had a question for us. I sorted that out, so my apologies to him. But he is a loyal listener as well, so just want to give a shout out to him. Say thanks.
Awesome.
Yes, and then let's get into John's list, because that's you had this nice segue talking about the Edmonton Oilers. Let's go at it.
Cool. All right, John's list. So if you're a regular listener of the podcast, you'll be undoubtedly familiar with John's list. John's shit list of players, past and present. We throw in the occasional commissioner, GM, coach, newsworthy topic from around the hockey world. Today, John emailed in or texted in his pick for tonight, and that was Evan Bouchard. I expanded on it to include the entire Edmonton Oilers team after this weekend. And according to Twitter, the referees also need to be in here because apparently the referees cost the Oilers the game today. Although I haven't seen the game, but from recent performances, I'd beg to differ that the referees probably didn't have too much to do with it.
I did watch a couple clips on Twitter. I missed the game, Bruce, same as you. But it looked like 1 or 2 of those calls were pretty soft. But at the end of the day, you can't blame the referees for your losses. And
exactly.
You know what? It's funny. John just has never been a fan of Evan Bouchard, and that's okay.
No.
But
I kind of ragged on him here. The Colorado game, I didn't like his positioning even on the game-winning goal in overtime, and in Toronto, outside of the first shift, none of the team really looked that good. The team looked good on the first shift, and it was all downhill from there.
Yeah. I mean, I did see, too, that Calvin Pickard let in 4 goals on 15 shots, and without having seen the game, statistically, that's not good. You can't pile in one guy, but you got to be better than 4 on 15, so that's not ideal. So. But you know what? We talked about this plenty last week, Bruce. This team is just, they're leaving a lot to be desired right now, and this even further frustrates me with the trade deadline. Yeah. So, you look at their record, like following the deadline, it hasn't been very good.
No, it hasn't. And they've got, I think, 13 games left. And really only 3 of those games are against teams that are out of the playoffs. So they've got 10 games against teams that are in the playoffs. And a lot of them are in their own division. So they're either division? Conference. Sorry, conference. So they got Colorado, Dallas, Calgary, Vegas, LA. Like, these are not going to be tough games. These are not going to be easy games for the Oilers. And if we're having trouble, well, Toronto, they just didn't, just outside the first shift. And parts of the third period, they played better, but they were still, 2 goals they got. Toronto was basically cruising at that point.
Well, I was talking to my brother and sister-in-law today. We had supper with the family, and they said the Oilers actually played really well in the third period. Like they came to play, but
they got their 2 goals in the third period. Like,
yeah, but too little, too late, right?
Well, yeah, you can't spot a team 5 goals and then show up for 15 minutes and expect to win the game. Like, it's
pretty brutal stuff, anyway. But hey, Bruce, let's talk about some positive stuff here. We got our fantasy lock of the week, which is a big milestone for a couple players here. Oh, are you muted, Bruce? I just lost you.
Am I better now?
Yeah, you're definitely muted.
My mic was giving me issues, so I went to talk, and all of a sudden it went boop, and it said I'm done. I'm like, oh no. So I think I got it working now. So okay,
you're good. Fantasy lock. Right. Let's talk about it.
Fantasy lock of the week. So I got 2 of them on here, and as I put in the comments here, I'm kind of a homer for this one, for these 2 guys, Zach Hyman and Sam Reinhart. Both of them achieved career milestones today. They both achieved 50 goals in a season. For Zach, this is his first. Well, for Zach and Sam, this is their first time in their careers they've put up 50 goals each. For Hyman, it's a little extra special. He's 31 years old. According to NHL, their PR or whatever, he is the 3rd oldest player in NHL history to score 50 goals after the age of 30. The 2 other people are, one is from the 70s, and the other one I didn't recognize the name either. So it's pretty major milestone for us, as he puts himself. He's not the best player on the ice. He just works hard, and that's pretty much sums up Hyman's game.
Yeah.
And for Reinhart, he's found lightning in a bottle this year. He came out at the beginning of the season flying. Contract year for him. Gelled well in Florida with Barkov and whoever else is on the line with him there, and he's set the Panthers record for most power play goals, or especially special teams goals, not power play, special teams goals for Florida. Now 50 goals, so he's going to get a nice little pay raise here coming up in this offseason. Some team is going to pay him very, very handsomely based on that. So.
Yeah, he's turned out to be just a fantastic player.
I have on my Yahoo team, I have both of these guys. So that's one of the reasons why my that team is doing as well as it did this year, because I got both of them, and that was just luck picking both of them. So
yeah, I mean, look, second overall pick. As Oilers fans, we still feel really fortunate that Draisaitl fell to us at 3, but
yeah,
Sam Reinhart, man, he's been great for Florida these past 3 seasons. So
absolutely,
really not much to complain about there. But 33 goals, 31, and now 50 this year. I had no idea. Probably, at least in my opinion, one of the quietest 50-goal seasons you'll hear about.
Yeah, I don't foresee a way that Florida can actually sign him in the offseason. So that's going to be interesting to see how that plays out.
Yeah.
If he takes less money to stay in Florida and a chance to win, or goes somewhere else and take the cash.
Well, it's hard to beat, right? Because Florida's a tax-free state,
exactly, right? $8 million in Florida is basically $12 million in Ontario or Alberta.
Yeah, well, that situation always it comes into play, and he's getting big minutes. The team is performing well above anybody's expectations. Yeah, for sure. And how can you beat that South Florida weather, right? Like the guy can go to practice in board shorts and flip flops. So
I know. Right?
There's lots to like about Florida. So I mean, he would probably prefer to stay, I'm sure, but
probably
we'll see how things go.
For sure. I was just going to check and see how much cap space Florida had here next season. Florida Panthers is is, they're at an even 0 right now. But what are they supposed to have for projected cap space for next year? Considering, oh my goodness, there's a whole lot of red here. Considering half the team was a free agent at the end of the season. They are projected to have off-season their salary cap going into the off-season is... I am not reading this right. They can't have that much tied up in that many players. They are going to have just short of $20 million free in projected salary cap space for next season.
And a bunch of players they go to sign?
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. 10 UFAs and 2 RFAs. So pretty easy to say that unless something drastic happens, I'm guessing Sam Reinhart may not be part of that picture.
Hard to say, though. Like, I
guess if you took like $8 million or something like that, right? That would be doable, right? Because that's only $1.5 million more, but you get another team that could just throw. But like you said,
it'll really depend how much he wants to stay in Florida, right? Like if he wants to be there, I have to think that with that many UFAs, they'll figure something out and they'll get a deal done. But again, they gotta look at the whole picture and they'll figure that out in the summertime. But you had one more honorable mention here, Bruce. Who else we got for the list for the fantasy log?
Yeah, just a small honorable mention to this guy. You probably haven't heard of him at all. His name's Connor McDavid. Haven't heard of him. 11 points, 1 goal, 10 assists in 4 games played this week. So just tiny little performance. Not too bad.
Pretty typical McDavid. Hey, lots of assists and not very many goals, but that's okay.
Yeah. Oh, he's not shooting the puck anymore. He said, I'm not shooting anymore.
He's done the goal thing. Now he wants to get all the assists and see how that goes.
Well, so what was it? The other day he had 4 assists and no shots on goal. It's like, oh my God.
Yeah, it's been an interesting season from Connor. I really would have preferred to have rostered him last year, Bruce, when he was scoring all the goals and all the points, but
yes,
that's okay.
Yes. All right, let us move on to edge work here. The NHL schedule for week 24. This is the segment where we put in the work to give you the edge in your fantasy hockey league. Each week, the Hacks will cover the NHL schedule and waiver wire targets to guide you to victory. And boy, I'm going to need some help this week. Things you need to know. Welcome to week 24. Most likely for most, this is going to be your quarterfinals for your playoffs. In a lot of Yahoo and ESPN. I think Fantrax is already, depending on some leagues, has been already a week into the playoffs. But it depends all on your league here. So this week, there's a total of 47 games on the schedule. 3 full days, Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, and 4 light days. Light days are where 50% or fewer of NHL teams are in action. In terms of attempting to optimize the schedule for games played, I really have to fix that sentence. There are only 2 teams this week that play 4 games. It's Anaheim and Vegas. There are only 6 games total on the 4 light days this week. So that's something to keep an eye on because basically, we'll get to it here in a moment. Buffalo and Vancouver played 2 of their 3 games this week on light days. So that's something to keep an eye on as well. Boston, Ottawa, and Vegas are the only teams with back-to-back games this week as well. Teams to fade this week would be Minnesota, New Jersey, the Islanders, and Tampa as they only play 2 games. Just a quick recap on the schedule. So Monday, there's 2 games. Tuesdays, there's 12. Wednesday, there's 2. Thursday, 14. Friday, 1. Saturday, 15. And Sunday, 1. So for those of us that are in the first weeks of the playoffs, this schedule sucks. Because you are going to have to, not so much on Tuesday, but on Thursday and Saturday, you are going to have to put players on your bench that you may not want to put on your bench because everybody's playing, basically.
Yeah.
You're going to have to make some roster decisions. And then game days like Friday and Sunday where you may not even have a player playing.
No, it's rough. And you have to make some tough decisions, right? If it's a tight matchup and all of a sudden you're going, well, I need the points, but do I want to drop this guy in case I win this matchup? It becomes difficult, right? So
yeah, exactly. So there's going to be some tough decisions here this week. There's been a few mentions on Twitter or X that this is not a fantasy friendly schedule to start your playoff run with. So I
Luckily,
know
everyone's in the same boat, Bruce.
Yeah, I got a few decisions I'm going to have to do this week too on mine. So we'll see how it plays out. All right, let us move on to the waiver wire targets here for week 24. Waiver wire targets will be focused on players that are rostered in roughly 50% or less of Yahoo or Fantrax leagues. When considering players to target, we consider recent performance, player deployment, upcoming schedule, and more. Hey, look, the first guy on this list has been here before a couple of times. And that would be Mr. Philipp Kurashev of the Chicago Blackhawks. Currently rostered 8%. I think he's gone up a couple since the last time we had him on here. 36% in Fantrax. Chicago has got 3 games this week. They are at home to Calgary, on the road to Ottawa, and then Philadelphia. He's on line 1 with Connor Bedard and Tyler Johnson. Kurashev is having a breakout season. He's on pace for 56 points and 18 goals. If you ignore the abysmal minus 18, that's actually not bad. I've seen
for the Chicago Blackhawks. Yeah, that's
minus
not
18
that's
is
terrible.
not bad at all. Kurashev's 12 points, 5 goals over his last 10 games certainly make him an appealing streaming option. Riding shotgun with Connor Bedard on the top line and number 1 power play certainly doesn't hurt either. No, it definitely doesn't. He could definitely be a.
Yeah, and I think we've talked about him in the summertime too. Bruce is one of our breakout candidates. I know Ryan was pretty big on him too. But yeah, man, he's been productive. He's been really good.
Yeah. Like you said, riding shotgun with Bedard, you pick up a few points doing that one way or the other, right?
Absolutely do.
All right. Would you like to talk about our next contestant?
Yeah, I mean, not a ton to talk about in terms of Tyler Seguin, but he is center and right wing eligible for the Dallas Stars, rostered in 44% of Yahoo leagues and 58% in Fantrax. They've got 3 games this week: San Jose, Vancouver, and the Kraken. I mean, San Jose is who they are, and so that's a juicy matchup. Anytime you can take advantage of that, that's ideal. And then Seattle, who just got shellacked by Montreal tonight, probably another team that you'd love to have as an opponent for your fantasy roster this week. So give him a look in terms of the schedule. And then line 2 with Matt Duchene and Mason Marchment. That line has been solid all year long. He's been a very productive member of that line. In fact, he's on pace for 63 points, his best offensive rate since 2018-2019. He missed 11 games due to injury, but he did post a goal and 4 shots on goal in his return against Arizona this past week. The next game was pretty quiet for him, and then I don't know what he did tonight, but at the time of writing anyway, he came out swinging in his first couple games, so that was good to see. 6 points, 3 goals in his last 9 games played. So I think, especially in deeper leagues, if you're in a 12-team league or more, Tyler Seguin looks like a pretty solid option who's going to be available in the majority of leagues.
Well, he had a goal and 2 assists tonight.
There you go. So making us look even better, Bruce, for recommending him tonight.
There you go. All right. Next one on the list here, Mr. Victor Arvidsson. Left wing, right wing eligible for the LA Kings. Rostered 36% in Yahoo, 52% in Fantrax. LA is on the road this week. They're going to their Western Canada swing. Vancouver, Edmonton, and Calgary. He is currently on the 3rd line with Pierre-Luc Dubois and Alex Lafreniere. And he's got a spot on power play 1. Arvidsson's been limited to just 6 games this season. Yeah, he just came back and he got injured. Guys, that's brutal.
Mm-hmm.
But has jumped right back into the action with 4 points, 1 goal in his last 5 games. Currently holding down a spot on the top power play unit with a 62.5 power play share over the past 2 games and is averaging 3 shots on goal per game. It's a nice tidy little number, and 3rd line, you should get some nice matchups. So he would be a nice pickup. I picked him up before he got injured the second time and was doing well before he got injured again.
Yeah, he's an underrated player, I think, for fantasy, right? His shot rate's usually good and does tend to put up some goals as well. And then this week, the way Edmonton's playing right now and against the Calgary Flames, there's some goals to be had there for sure. And anytime you can pick up a player that's left wing and right wing eligible, and then like you said, take advantage of third line matchups. I like Victor Arvidsson for this week.
Absolutely. Oh, look, you get to talk about Mr. Hartman. Lucky you.
Oh, yeah, sure. Well, I'm on record on this podcast talking about how much I don't really like Ryan Hartman, but right now he's hard to ignore. Center right wing eligible for the Minnesota Wild, 29% rostered in Yahoo, 59% in Fantrax. Just 2 games on the schedule against San Jose and Vegas, so not an ideal setup there, but he is playing with Marcus Johansson and Matt Boldy on the team's second line and on the second power play unit. We do generally talk about this player, Bruce, only or almost exclusively on John's list for some of the stupidity that he has displayed over the past season or two. However, with 16 points, 3 goals, a plus 11 rating, 24 penalty minutes, 48 shots on goal, 24 hits, and 27 blocks in 17-10 time on ice per game over his last 20 games, he is absolutely worthy of rostering right now in the final week or two of the season. Secondary power play time is just sort of the cherry on top. So hard to go wrong with Ryan Hartman at this point, just given some of the category coverage he's providing and the offensive production.
And he's getting some bonus time too, right? Eriksson Ek is still out, so he's getting a little bit of extra look there too, which is always helps.
Take advantage of that while you can. And Eriksson Ek, man, that's a player that's definitely going to be on my draft list for next year.
He's going to be so high in our ESPN draft. He's going to go probably in the first 2 rounds.
He's going to go way too high. But if you can get him at the right
He'll go
point,
right after Kaprizov.
That player. Could you imagine? Yeah. He's been great. He's been so good for them.
I wouldn't be surprised if someone picks him over Kaprizov.
Well, that would surprise me. But I guess category coverage, though, Bruce. He's been
category
great.
coverage.
Yeah,
absolutely.
He's been outstanding.
I haven't. I didn't look to see what the totals are for everyone thus far, but I'm guessing he's right up there.
Well, I think in the summer, Bruce, maybe we'll do like a biggest surprise, biggest disappointment sort of episode, and I have to think he'll be discussed in that episode for sure.
Absolutely. All right, next guy on the list is Mr. Jake Neighbors, St. Louis Blues. He is also left wing, right wing eligible. Currently rostered 13% in Yahoo, 37% in Fantrax. The Blues have 3 games this week. They are at home to Vegas, Calgary, and San Jose, so not a bad schedule. He's on line 1 here with Braden Shen and Robert Thomas. He's also seeing some time on Power Play 1. March has been a productive month here for the 21-year-old, who has posted 9 points, 6 goals in his last 12 games played. Shot rates just over a shot and a half per game. Ooh, that's a nice ish. 31.6. That's definitely sustainable. Oh, for sure.
I thought you'd like that, Bruce. Yeah,
that's going to be all sustainable for at least 1-2 more games. That's about it. It does really leave something to be desired. However, overall production and hits 2.42 hits per game make up for the underwhelming metrics. He's averaging here just over 3 minutes power play time on ice, so that's a 63.2 power play share. That's not too bad either. And some excellent line mates provide a little added intrigue for fantasy managers down the stretch. Neighbors will likely truly break out next season, so keep him on your roster in season-long redraft leagues. Yeah, he's another fun one to watch.
Well, and again, if you subscribe to that theory that players break out in their 4th NHL season, he is in year 3 right now and will be entering year 4 next season. So keep an eye on him. I think just with some added deployment and a little more development and just as he gets more comfortable and everything, he's going to be a good player for them.
Well, and if St. Louis is on a mission to trade Bouchard like they were at the trade deadline, he's going to see an expanded role next year, and he could slot into Bouchnevic's spot. And
it'll be interesting to see if Bouch gets moved at the draft this summer,
because it sure sounded like they were trying very hard to move him at the trade deadline. Yeah, which surprises me a bit, but
well, because they're not far out, right? They're only 4 points back of Vegas right now for a playoff spot.
Yeah, I had that up here where they were sitting.
It's interesting that they've kind of been, but I think if you can take advantage of that player and if you can get people to pay your absurd ransom, then
for sure set yourself up some more future benefits, right?
For sure.
All right, let us move on to defensemen, and the 3 guys we have this week is 3, right? Yeah, it's 3.
We got 3.
We're not scraping the bottom of the barrel. These guys have actually been productive here the past, since the trade deadline at least.
Yeah, I was surprised at the quality of defensemen we were able to dig up for the waiver wire targets this week.
I'll let you go first because you love this defenseman.
I do. Well, how can you not, Bruce? How can you not absolutely love the Viking, Mattias Ekholm, 57% rostered in Yahoo, 67% in Fantrax. The Oilers have got Winnipeg, LA, and Anaheim this week, so a couple tough matchups there. And he's on that top pairing with Evan Bouchard and on power play too. He's found his offensive game here. These last 6 games, he's got 8 points, 3 goals, and 5 assists. No power play time to really speak of, relative to what we're seeing from Bouchard and some other players, but still averaging about 22 minutes time on ice per night. And despite a lack of overall power play time, he's averaging 3 shots on goal per game, 1 hit per game, and 1.3 blocks per game over his last 10 contests. So you are getting some nice category coverage. And if he continues producing offensively the way he has been, there's a lot to like there. And again, available in over 40% of leagues.
At least I didn't watch, like I said earlier, we didn't watch today's game. But when you watched the Toronto game and a couple of previous games, they seem to be more interested in getting him involved now in the play than they were in the past.
Which is important.
I don't know yeah, it's been working, right? He's been putting up some points and takes a bit of pressure off of Bouchard, who's having a record season all on his own.
It's the thing with Ekholm is like when he gets that shot away, he's got a good shot. We've seen it a number of times over the last 2 seasons, right? Absolutely.
So let's hope they keep him involved.
Fingers crossed.
All right, next guy on the list is Mr. Dmitry Orlov of the Carolina Hurricanes. He's rostered 25% in Yahoo, 32% in Fantrax. Carolina's got 3 games this week. They are on the road to Pittsburgh. They are at home to Detroit, and then on the road to Montreal. He is playing on, is that first pair? Is that what? Oh, he's with.
That could be a typo. He might be on the second or third pairing, actually, if I go back and look at it.
He's paired with Jalen Chatfield right now here in the Carolina Defense Corps. Orlov has seen an offensive boost here since the trade deadline. 7 points in his last 7 games, 2 goals, 5 assists, while averaging just over 17 minutes a night. He's not getting any power play time to speak of, but he is an option for He is an option for fantasy, particularly in bangers leagues where he is averaging over 2 hits per game. And it just seems like that revamped second line that Carolina's got now with Kuznetsov and Gensel. He just seems to be more involved now than he was in the past. So he's got some chemistry going with those guys. Maybe I didn't look to see where.
He's actually Bruce sitting on it's the third pairing for Orlov right now. So he did get moved down, but that's fine. I mean, they've got a deep roster and he's been good. And actually, did Svechnikov? So Daily Faceoff has Svechnikov playing with Kuznetsov and Martin Necas on the second line, and Gensel has moved up to the top line with Sebastian Aho and Seth Jarvis. And
nice.
That's a solid top 6. Like that's
a very solid.
That's
top
a
6.
really solid top 6. Seth Jarvis, I was going to mention him as well. Like I in my research came across him, and I think he's 75% rostered, so I didn't want to talk to him as an official waiver wire target. But if you are in one of those 25% of leagues where Seth Jarvis is available, you've absolutely got to grab that guy for this upcoming week. He's been really, really productive, and how can you argue with a guy that's playing with Jake Hensel and Sebastian Aho? And
he's on power play 1 too.
Yeah. So lots to like about Seth Jarvis if he is available.
Most definitely. All right. Oh, look, we have a Leaf. I'll let you talk about him.
Yeah, Timothy Liljegren for the Toronto Maple Leafs, rostered in 12% of Yahoo leagues, 33% in Fantrax. They've got 3 games this week, 2 home matchups, New Jersey and Washington, and then they're on the road in Buffalo. He's on the second pairing with Joel Edmondson and on power play 1, which had surprised me. They really seem to be going out of their way to play almost anyone on the first power play unit except for Morgan Riley. So Liljegren has been on a roll. He's got, in his last 8 games, 7 points, 1 goal, including 2 power play points and 1 game-winning goal. As I just mentioned, recently promoted to that top power play unit and averaging just over 20 minutes time on ice. I think he's a great option. And available in almost 90% of Yahoo leagues. That's a guy that could probably really help you in the quarterfinals of your fantasy hockey playoffs.
Especially if he sticks on power play 1.
Yeah. Yeah.
I was surprised too when I did doing the research and checked. It's like, holy crap. Like this has gone for a couple of games now. This isn't just a one and done thing. They've been doing this for a few games now.
Yeah, so I think looking at this, Bruce, what I like about our offense or our defenseman recommendation this week is we've got guys who are providing some category coverage. You got Ekholm, who's blocks and hits and some offense, and then you've got Orlov, who's providing some offense and hits, and then you've got Liljegren here, who's just more providing pure offense, but also some power play points too. So we've got kind of a nice mix here this week.
I didn't look up what Liljegren's if he does hits or blocks and stuff like that. I didn't look that up.
No, but my point being, I think we've got a nice mixture of players for.
Oh yeah, absolutely. Moving on, we will go to Tyler's favorite section of the waiver wire picks, the goaltenders. Let's see. First goaltender on the list here is Mr. Jake Allen of the New Jersey Devils. He is rostered 31% in Yahoo, 34% in Fantrax. Jersey has 2 games this week. They are on the road to Toronto and Buffalo. For now, it looks like Mr. Allen is your starting goaltender for the New Jersey Devils. Since coming to the Devils, Allen has a record of 3-2, with 241 goals against average and a 923 save percentage. Allen has started nearly every game for the Devils since joining the team, and there's no reason at this point to believe that it will change. He should be noted that Kaapo Kähkönen did post a 37 save shutout on Sunday against the Islanders. Nice. They very creative trade deadline for the Devils. They didn't get the goaltender they wanted in Markstrom, but they totally managed to completely redo their goalie room.
Yeah,
they got rid of Vanacek. They got rid of Blackwood here earlier in the season, or at the end of the season, sorry. And they've got Allen and Kähkönen now. So try these guys out if they work great. If not, I'm guessing Allen's going to be around next season. Kähkönen free agent, so we'll wait and see. But this could be the pair if they strike out when they go goaltender hunting here in the off season.
Yeah, I'd say you probably expect to see Markstrom get traded at the draft, and
I would think so.
That's their guy. And I think I was listening to 32 Thoughts again, and or maybe Spit and Chicklets. Anyway, they want Markstrom. That's their guy. That's who they want.
Yeah.
So almost guaranteed they're going to try and target him at the draft. And then if Allen's your backup, that's fantastic. He's been really solid for New Jersey so far.
Absolutely.
I was going to mention, Bruce, I just looked up Liljegren's numbers here, and it's actually interesting. So 7 points in his last 10 games, but 2 power play points, as we mentioned, 18 hits, so 1.8 per game, and 26 blocks, so 2.6 blocks per game. And then just under 3 minutes on the power play. So yeah, he's looked really good. That's a really nice option right now if you're looking for some help on D.
Definitely. Glad you looked that up because I didn't.
There you go. There you have it.
All right, I will let you talk about the next guy since this guy, we've been talking about him for a while now.
Yeah, we've been beating the Dustin Wolf drum since like July or August of last year. I think we did our breakout candidates and all the rest of it. And so, I mean, just talking to Ryan and all the research we've done, we're big fans of Dustin Wolf. But at this point in the season, it's just really about circumstance and the opportunity for him. So 9% rostered in Yahoo, 43% in Fantrax. 3 games on the schedule this week: Chicago, St. Louis, and LA. Dan Thadar is out for the season with a hip injury, and the Flames are essentially out of the playoff picture. As we just said, Markstrom was on his way out, so why wouldn't you give Dustin Wolf all the opportunity from now to the end of the season, see what the kid can do? Since his last call-up, he has seen 5 games, starting 3, a record of 2-1-0 in 3 of those games with a 2.21 goals against, a 929 save percentage. He's the goalie of the future, and the future is now, old man. So
absolutely,
yeah, Dustin Wolf. I think if you're looking for some help in goal, that's a guy that could get it done for you this week.
Absolutely. We have James Reimer rostered. I'm guessing it's 11 in Fantrax, or 11 in Yahoo. Sorry, 16 in Fantrax.
Yeah.
With Alex Lyon's recent struggles, he's 0-4 in his last 4 starts. Reimer has been able to step in and help keep the ship afloat and hopefully the Red Wings playoff chances alive. Reimer's been 3-0 in his last 3 starts with a goals against average of .234 and a .928 save percentage. The Wings do have a bit of a rough schedule this week with 3 road games versus Washington, Carolina, and Florida. You may not get many wins from Reimer, but he does see a lot of shots. He's averaging 30 shots here in the past 3 games.
Yeah.
And I don't think the Red Wings play on any off nights. Red Wings. No, they don't. They are all on regular days, no light days.
But at this point in the season, Bruce, some of these boomer bust picks really could help. Like if you're in a tight matchup and all of a sudden it's like, hey, James Reimer played Washington and he had 34 shots against, and let in 2 goals or something like that. That's wins a game. That makes a big difference in your matchup, right? So
look at what Lindgren did last week for Washington. There are some of those games I would have never expected.
No. So sometimes you got to take a gamble on these goaltenders.
Yeah. Even look at Urson for Philadelphia. Mm-hmm. Didn't expect them to beat Boston or Toronto last week, and I was hemming and hawing about dropping him and picking up somebody else. And one I forgot because I got busy, and the other one, it's like I hemmed and hawed. It's like, you know what? Screw it. I'm not gonna worry about it. Yeah, they ended up winning both games, so they're going to think of the playoff hunt there too. So they are. Where are they still sitting? Are they sitting in a playoff spot? Or are they just outside?
I think they're just outside now with Washington. Yeah. So Detroit's at 78 points. Washington at 79. They're in a second wild card spot.
Yeah.
I mean, at this point, I think that's tough. Hey, Bruce. Like, I think a lot of us would love to see Ovi in one more playoff run. Definitely. But I also, I wouldn't mind seeing Patrick Kane and the Red Wings in the playoffs this year.
Exactly right. And the Islanders aren't exactly making it easy for those teams either. They're 3 points back, but
yeah. And
the goal
Philly,
differential, yikes. Minus 27 for those 2 teams, for the Islanders and for Washington. That's just yikes.
Which is crazy when you think of the Islanders. Most people think like a really strong defensive team. Yeah. Ilya Sorokin in net, and here they are minus 27. They're 3-6-1 in their last 10. So
yeah. Philly's in the 3rd in Metropolitan. There, got a -8. They're a -8 there. That's so. But then a lot of the East is a dash, except for 4 teams.
Yeah, it's interesting, right? Nice. Especially when we talk to Mike from Left Wing Lock, and he'd always talk about how goal differential is a strong indicator of playoff chances and performance. And so, I probably wouldn't be betting on the Flyers or the Washington Capitals, but
so when they win okay. When they lose big.
For sure.
It's kind of how it sort of sums up. So, all right, that was unless you've got anything else to add, that's it.
That's it. That's all, Bruce.
That's it. There's no last minute Tyler cameo or anything.
I guess not tonight. No,
not tonight.
But you know what? Just as we're stepping into the playoffs, Bruce, I just want to say thank you to everyone that's listened this season.
Definitely.
We really appreciate the support. Thank you to Ryan and Evan for everything they've done this year. The guys over at Dobber Hockey. And Bruce, special shout out to you because as I changed jobs back in August, you stepped up and took over a lot of the responsibility on the podcast this year. So I just really appreciate everything you did for us. And it was a fun season. We had another good run, and
absolutely.
I'm looking forward to more fun in the summer.
Yeah, we got a couple more weeks here to go yet to get a couple weeks of playoffs, and then we'll take a little time off to recharge, and we'll be back. We'll be back next year with more fun.
Yeah, we'll try and be bigger and better next summer.
I'll polish the dome up nice. We'll get some extra shine on it.
Good stuff. Okay, well, Bruce,
or maybe something to shade it so
you got to diffuse that light a little bit, Bruce. Maybe get
a bit of diffuser so that it's not so bright.
I'll have to school you on some lighting techniques.
It's a good thing we don't show the video of this. I'd blind people with this. I can't see them. I'm blind.
Oh boy. Okay, well, hey, maybe I'll talk to you on Wednesday.
Maybe. All right. So that's it for the show, everybody. Thanks for listening. You can find us on Twitter or X at FH Hacks and on Instagram at Fantasy Hockey Hacks. Don't forget to check out our live show, Hacks Hangout, every Wednesday at 9 p.m. Mountain Time on EdmontonSportsTalk.com and on YouTube.com/heavyhockey. Have a good one, everybody.
Take care.